Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
I've been thinking, the automobile is about as safe as it's going to be. We should not pass any more legislation, so why don't we all hand in our resignations and go home? I mean, like, yeah, that's going to happen. No, I mean, it's part of the overall regulatory environment that causes us great concern, and that's why, as the jaws are closing on fuel economy mandates for the internal combustion engine, where more and more mileage is demanded and lower CO2 emissions, and we're at the point now where we're at the asymptotic part of the curve where each additional mile per gallon starts costing more and more and more and more. And so you have to tell yourself, well, wait a minute, there's got to be a better way to do this. So you say, okay, forget that. Maybe it's time to get rid of all this stuff and go to the 100 mile per gallon label, or actually, if you look at a Chevrolet Volt when it's in electric mode, you should really use a horizontal 8 for the fuel economy. And you tell yourself it's time for a paradigm shift and get away from what we call the oily bits or the prismatic machine parts that run in oil, and tell ourselves we're going to place our future in mild hybrids, strong hybrids, plug-in hybrids, extended range electric vehicles like the Chevrolet Volt, and fuel cells. And then nobody can argue with anything. I unfortunately, being the pessimist that I am, realistic pessimist.
Realist.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I believe that there is a segment of the environmental movement that is against personal mobility per se.
Oh, absolutely.
Wait, don't agree too fast because you're egging me on.
I live in Olympia, which is the greenest, amongst the greenest cities in the country.
You kind of look like a hippie.
I'm a raging conservative there, so yes.
So my theory is cars, we can have a car that actually eats CO2.
Thank you.
Gets 200 miles per gallon and spouts fresh daisies out the exhaust pipe. And it will be criticized for killing valuable insect species on the windshield. Somebody will calculate the number of valuable insect species that are killed per day on America's highways during the summer.
Interesting, it's always by a person who's riding a bike, smoking a cigarette, but I've never been able to figure out why.
Is that what's happening to the bees?
Yes.
Chris.
Yeah, not everybody likes daisies now.
I'm a beekeeper myself, and the answer is nobody knows what's
Yeah.
happening to the bees.
Very crazy.
Is that why you said don't?
I have a question, Bob. So, why is it that nobody has concentrated on creating a gas-efficient vehicle that is actually considered high-end and stylish? Like, it's amazing to me that the Prius has sort of become a status symbol, and that we're seeing it in TV shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Weeds and all the other hundreds of shows that it's in, and yet it's a jelly bean. I mean, it is not a good-looking car by any stretch of the imagination. There was no effort put into making this look like a stylish car.
That's why it's successful.
Yeah.
Because look at the Civic, it was a massive failure because they didn't distinguish it from the rest.
Absolutely.
But I'm not. But what I'm sure of, I'm not sure about that. What I am sure of is that there is a large market of people who would buy a more gas-efficient car or a hybrid if it met their quality/style standards.
BMW 7 Series, their hydrogen car they've taken that, has gone from, instead of going economy up, is going luxury with economy down.
That's what I'd love to see. Yeah, like I have never heard of that before, and I mean,
Yeah.
it seems to me like there's a huge untapped market of people who have a lot of money to spend, who are into the green movement now, but don't want to go from their Benz to a Prius.
Yeah, they go from
And that's why Mercedes is looking at a lot of lithium-ion technology and is teaming up with Tesla. So
get asked about it.
And that's,
Tesla? Oh, yes.
if you guys haven't done any in-depth work on Fisker, you should, because that's his whole thesis. The Fisker Karma,
Right.
it's basically like a very big Chevrolet Volt. Very similar battery technology. He will use a lot of GM parts and hardware in his car. They say they're going to charge $80,000. I think it'll be more like $100 or $110 when they're done, and it will become the sort of ethically pure rich person's car.
Sports car.
I think it's a
And
great
I,
idea.
I think he'll sell every one that he can make.
Right, and that's it. I mean, that's also the Tesla. And actually, I know somebody's got one on order. You go from you take that economy, economy mindset, and you place it in a Lotus chassis, Lotus body,
Yeah.
and you take that whole theory of maximum torque at 0 RPMs, and there's also a sports car guy and a Lotus person who's bought a Lotus. I look at it and go, wow, but of course I wouldn't buy a $100,000. And I agree with you that I don't think that Fisker, when they come out with anything, is going to be in it's got to be in six figures. They can't. There's no way that they can get it under that price point.
No, but even if
It doesn't matter.
Even if they're at 120, they'll
Yeah.
be sold out.
Yeah, I mean, there's just two separate types of people, right? There's people who want gas-efficient cars because they can't afford gas, and there's people that want gas-efficient cars because
And they buy a
they
CRS.
want to be green and they want to be loved by their friends
And it
because
becomes a
they're-
social statement.
right, exactly.
The Lexus hybrid. I mean, all you need to do is drive I-5 here, and I don't drive up here. I drive in Olympia usually, but when I'm up here, there are a lot of H's. I mean, it's a good market because it's hip to be green. Which is the question is, is that something Volt technology
although the big Lexus sedan,
Gets lost.
I hear from Lexus dealers the hybrid version is sales-proof. Because the hybrid version gets like about 19 miles.
Yeah,
per gallon.
it's a fashion statement.
Yeah.
But is that if the Volt concept proves to be sales worthy, how long does it take you to get it into a Cadillac?
That's a very interesting statement.
Oh, it's a question.
You think it should be in a Cadillac?
As a marketing guy with traditional marketing background, I say I don't know because I don't have the data. But I would assume that you've got market research guys. You
If
figure
you're
that
a
out really
good
quickly.
marketing guy, you don't respond to data, you respond to gut instinct.
Well, my gut instinct is yes, absolutely, for the same reason.
Now we're talking true marketing.
Well, I mean,
When
absolutely.
you say I have to see the data, it means you're a finance guy.
Well, occasionally you can have a gut instinct that proves out, that proves to be not so good, and I've
You can be a
followed your
finance
career
guy.
and been on gut instinct with
Nobody-
you.
Have you ever known a great baseball player who bats 1,000? There's no such thing.
Absolutely. Only a couple guys who had one at bat.
Or how about Wayne Gretzky, who says quite accurately, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Yep, absolutely, and I agree with you. Absolutely.
So I'm back to the Cadillac question.
Yes. Well, I mean, the Cadillac question.
Definitely make a Cadillac Volt.
Yeah.
So that's one vote.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like to me it seems like a no-brainer because for two reasons. One, you already have the technology in development, and you've got competitors who are going after it, but they're competitors who are selling the small SUV, and they're doing it from a luxury standpoint, but they're cars that weren't tremendously non-fuel efficient to begin with. Cadillac people like their V8s. They want the power and the prestige of a Cadillac, but they're
The Cadillac brand, though, has become more recently also about technology.
exactly.
And that's, they should be showcasing the best.
Exactly. It would be the modern equivalent of the V16.
Well, yeah, to me, it could be absolutely transformational, because if we could do a Cadillac that had the 40 to 50 mile electric range,
Absolutely.
plus plus the incredible fuel economy credentials, plus more performance. It would have to have more performance than the Chevrolet version. Otherwise, how do you justify the price? But with impeccable modern Cadillac styling and a beautifully crafted, leather and wood and et cetera interior, and we would do that in right-hand drive and left-hand drive, meeting all international regulations. I agree with you. I think that would be not only a good business proposition, but if we lead the industry in that, it would permit us to really meaningfully establish Cadillac in places in the world where people say, yeah, Cadillac's okay, but why should I switch? I mean, yeah, a new CTS is a great car. I've read about it. Wonderful automobile, but explain to me why I should switch out of Audi or BMW or Mercedes. And I think a 100 and some mile per gallon Cadillac that at the same time has style and performance would do that, and could become for the wealthy people a cult vehicle, just like the Prius is, but at a much higher price point.
A follow-up question: is it feasible, and how long would it take to do it? And could you pull it off without having what is basically happened with like the Camaro, which is it not only was it the world's worst kept secret, but people who have their deposits are on them are pulling back because they put their deposit on it 2.5 years ago, and they're now getting tired of seeing the pictures and not having it. So how long could that be?
I think you have to always be on the Camaro. We kind of deliberately kept it in the news. And
Sure,
didn't
absolutely.
disguise the prototypes, knowing that some people would drop off. We never promised it early. We said it'd be 3 years to do the car, and that it would come out at the tail end of 2008, and that mass dealer availability would be there in early 2009. So I don't think we've disappointed anyone with the performance, and
No, certainly not.
people always drop off waiting lists.
Sure.
The Camaro will do fine.
Every article I've seen on the Dodge Challenger that's coming out right now has been saying is history going to repeat itself with the Challenger. It's too late. The gas prices are up. It's just going to fizzle again.
1970 all over
Exactly.
again.
So-
Well, I think there may be an element of truth in that. In that, I think that just like the